Good day, and we're back with yet another podcast. And today, the concept that we're going to be talking about is one that there needs to be a lot of debate on this. Now, it is of a common belief that the older you get, the more experience you get, right?
Correct.
There's a common belief that the more dysfunctional your life, the more prepared you are for the real world, right?
Not dysfunctional, rather the less sheltered. Because, for instance, when you're a kid, if your parents don't shelter you from the fact that yes, loved ones are gonna die, but also teach you how to deal with that, i.e., grieve over them, but eventually accept it, then that is good. It's like, or if they teach you that, son or daughter. Sometimes there'll be people out there who want to hurt you just because you don't fit their view of the world. And at that point, no amount of talking, no amount of pleading, no amount of bargaining will help you, and you will need to fight back. And so they teach their kid how to fight properly. That is good because they're not sheltering them. But living a dysfunctional life definitely doesn't help, but it definitely leaves you better prepared than somebody who's been sheltered and living under mumsykins and daddy-poos helicopter squad.
Well, except for the last bit. Most of that I actually agree with, except for the last bit was horribly annoying, but anyway.
Why?
Because I get annoyed by certain annoying words. But anyway, I get what you said.
Mumsykins and daddy-poo, gotcha.
Oh god, I shouldn't have said that. Now you know how to fuck with me. But anyway. But anyway, now it just seems like on the internet and on media in general, it's always like, oh yeah, if you're dysfunctional, you'll know how to deal with the real world. See, the thing is, in a way, I was, of course, prepared for the real world, but you know what I found in my life so far?
What?
That the real world was nowhere near as bad as originally advertised. Because, take the comedian Christopher Titus for a moment. I'm certain you know who he is, right?
Nope.
In short, he's a comedian who had a very difficult family life and has had a difficult life in general, who espouses the belief that the harder your life is, the more prepared you are for the real world, and believes that people are too sheltered these days. There you go. But ultimately, he isn't the only example. Because, you'll hear people all the time talking about the real world is tough, the real world is bad. And my question has always been, where is this? Where is this real world that's supposed to be tough and bad? Yeah, the real world can be kind of harsh and unforgiving at times, but if you do it right, you can, avoid that. And I think what a lot of people mistake for being sheltered is just avoiding the negative nature of the world. And you can do that. I'm going to we're once again bringing up Spoonie because he's an awesome guy. We're also bringing up Lord Cat because this is something that really kind of stuck in my mind a little bit. There's a whole video on this Lord Cat guy completely tearing Spoonie apart as being really terrible. And this was in 2012 before he stopped doing anything. But one of the things he was like, "You're such a coward for doing a stand-up comedy routine in front of your fans. You should have to do it at a club where people are all drunk and they throw beer bottles at your head." And I'm thinking your position isn't really well represented with that statement. Because if somebody's telling me, "Yeah, you should do that," I'm like, okay, how about I don't do it and you do it? How about I do it in front of the audience that isn't going to throw stuff at me? How about I do it in front of the audience that actually cares? Because see, the thing is, that's where I think where the hard life really infects people with this mindset of if everything isn't hard, it's not real, because they're trying to give their own lives more meaning than otherwise. If
you're taking this shit to a complete extreme because you take the hyperbole seriously. Lord Cat did not mean literally for Spoonie to go in front of a bunch of people he doesn't know and have them throw balls at him because they consider him unfunny. He meant that Spoonie should try and deal with a crowd that does not automatically like him, that does not automatically consider him funny, a crowd that he needs to warm up with some good jokes and then lead him into the maybe funny, maybe not material. And it is true that those who live a sheltered life, like say, I don't know, some Beverly Hills brat who always had mumsykins and daddy poo, give them a bunch of cash every week, they will be more developmentally stunted than the person who has worked jobs since they were like in the 6th grade. And by worked jobs, I mean first started with a paper route or mowing grass for the neighbors for cash, and then moved on to small jobs like working in a convenience store stacking boxes when they were in high school. This shit teaches them, discipline. It teaches them how to better integrate into the adult world, because the adult world does not take greater care to to make you comfy, to make it easier for you, because you're not a child anymore. The reason why the people who go through more difficult shit are considered to be better prepared is because they've seen the worst, or at least in case something worse than the usual, which means that they will be far more able to adapt to that which is easier to them. Case in point, let's say you had a horrible fuck. 1 second.
Everybody.
Let's take for instance, if you were let's say your parents were utter bastards. Let's say that they were fucking almost comically evil and douchey, and they made you carry like 20-kilo rocks on your back up a cliff when you were 10 years old. So let's say now when you're 15, you're still doing that, but you also have a job on the side where you carry crates of like 10 kilos down a flat corridor and stack them up. For you, it'll be easy. It'll be no fucking tough shit, because you've been through the worst, and this shit is fucking easier than for Trad, Thad, and Brad, who've never lifted anything below 1 kilo in their fancy little tote bag of clothes they bought in that cute little mall. That is what people mean. This isn't a hard concept to grasp.
Well, here's the problem, though. Is a hard life more desirable than an easier life, though? And when I say that is, it's like, for example, my life hasn't particularly been easy, but I wouldn't wish the life that I've led on anyone else, because it's not the best life to really live. Now, both of those are major extremes of either you get everything handed to you or you have to work for everything. There's that little middle ground that is still sort of hated by those who have to work for everything. I'm a good example of that middle ground, I think. Because, I went to college, but I wasn't working 18 jobs and getting 5 minutes worth of sleep. I was able to, get pretty much paid for, but it was with loans and things of that nature. So, should I have had to work 18 jobs and never get any sleep and basically devote my life to working all the time? Would that have made me better prepared for real life?
No, because there's a dip.
Or would it do what I think happens to a lot of people, is they end up becoming their jobs. And what I mean by that is, for them, the only thing that gives their lives meaning is working, and that's it. And they unfortunately become a little less human and a little more like robots. They get up in the morning, they clean off the outer chassis, maybe if you're lucky. They ingest food, they go to their job, they come back, ingest food, go into standby mode, and do the same thing the next day. Now, that's not me trying to basically say that people who work are like that, but I think that people who will stand up and say, this is how life is supposed to be lived, have become that.
What you don't understand is that there's a difference between being tempered through hardship and being stressed to the breaking point. It's good to be tested. It's good to be made for you to experience discomfort, so when comfort does come, when you've earned it, it feels all the better, and and you're more adapted to being uncomfortable, because sometimes in life you have to fight for it. But it's not good to be constantly, haggard, to constantly be forced into strenuous situations that literally leave you with no joy in life. That's the complete opposite extreme. That's fucking horrible.
But I would go as far to say that I think most people think that that what you just described is how the real world is, because
The real world isn't nearly as horrible as people make them out to be. At least in the West, we like to use hyperbole quite a lot. In fact, I'd wager that a lot of humans love to use hyperbole. It's just the way we think. But life isn't nearly as horrible as we say it is. At the very fucking least, most of us have a fucking roof and heating and food, if nothing else, and clean water too. Thank God for clean water.
could there be anything other than clean water? Oh my god, just be glad I'm not like everyone else. It's like, I never thought of that. But anyway, no, I do get what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't find it as desirable as I think some would find it. Because, like, case in point.
Of course, that's because you've already experienced a lot of hardship from what you've told me. So of course you don't want any more of it. It's natural.
But no, I'm saying I don't want other people to have to experience it either, because ultimately it doesn't necessarily leave you that well prepared. I mean, yeah, it does to a point, but do you want all the baggage that comes with it? Because it's easy to say, oh, just let it go. Oh, just move past the past. But in the real world, not TV, it's not that easy. It's like, even to this day, I'm still bothered by some stuff that happened when I was growing up. It's not all the time, but it still happens. So while I'm more prepared than, say, I hate harping on Spoonie, but he's the most obvious one. Well, not even Spoonie.
Jesus
Internet
Christ!
people in general.
Must I erect the fucking pentagram circle so we can resurrect the fucking horse so we can beat on him again?
No. All right, we'll just say internet people in general, or people who get Twitter bullied. There's that.
Oh my fucking god!
But no.
Anyone who tells me that cyberbullying is actual fucking bullying, fuck off. Fuck the fuck off.
Yeah, and that's
right
the thing.
Now.
It's like, growing up, having had to deal with overly violent people leads me to believe that that's complete bullshit. Because when you're surrounded by 2 or 3 people all wanting to attack you, and you can get one before you're taken down, that's when you learn that somebody typing in, "you are a cunt," doesn't really hold the same weight. But the thing is, other people be like, "that's how you have to learn. You gotta get beaten up sometimes." No, you don't. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And that's the thing. I don't think it really prepares you as much, because some people go crazy growing up. You know, that happens. And there was a lot of times in my life where I'd be like, a lesser man would have gone insane. I said that a lot when I was a kid. And, like, yeah, that prepared me to deal with, constant... Well, I wouldn't even say constant. It prepared me to deal with the concepts of not everybody's going to like you. You got to deal with criticism. But at the same time, in a way, mentally, I have to watch myself, because I always assume anytime I do anything, I'm going to be heavily criticized for it, no matter how good or how bad it actually is. So I just already assume nobody's going to like anything. But I do it anyway. That isn't good, I think. Rebuttal?
It's good that you don't care whether or not it'll be heavily criticized or not, but you really shouldn't think that everyone will dislike it from the beginning, because I think your fucking YouTube channel speaks volume.
True.
I mean, for fuck's sake, there's people commenting on these stupid fucking podcasts when it's one of the laziest fucking things that either you or I have done.
And yet there's a lot of people that comment on these things. Do you see the view counts that these things get?
There's like 179, or maybe, if we're really lucky, 400. Wow.
But that's in a couple of days, though, for a podcast, you realize.
True, but the thing is, I count a video's popularity or its quality through the number of comments rather than the number of views. As I said, views are worth in cents, comments are worth in dollars.
I thought it was silver and then gold, but whatever.
Whatever.
But yeah, these actually get a lot of comments, so I think we're reaching a lot of people.
Yeah, it's mostly just regulars, although there are some newcomers here and there. It's like, Sakuraba 1982 Gaming is a regular, Riley the Flaming Wookie Cookie, Flawed Intellect, and quite possibly a couple of others that I'm completely forgetting about.
So here's to you guys. But that's the thing, though. It's just I get galled when people and experience. Yeah, experience was something that when I was growing up, especially when I was going through college, that I find annoying. Just because you're a certain age doesn't really mean anything. And I say this because if your life experiences, or what I like to call robot experiences, and I don't mean working, this is actually something completely unrelated to that, because some people just don't have a choice when it comes to, they either work or they starve, and I'm not going to judge them for that, because I've never had to deal with that, thankfully. This isn't real wood, but even I had to do that. But
Oh dear, I'm rubbing off on you, huh?
it seems that way, but actually, no, that's disgusting. I'm not into that at all.
Sure, you're not.
But anyway, no.
I forgot. You live in Texas. They're not as accepting there. I'm sorry.
Although in all reality, oh man, I could get into that debate. We will in a moment. But no, experience. People who do the same stupid things over and over again do not have experience. They just have experience doing something stupid over and over again.
Or to put it in a more poetic way, it's like beware of the error of the artisan who claims to have had 20 years experience in his craft when in fact he's only had 1 year of experience 20 times.
Exactly. Hearing about relationships, I think, are the worst when it comes to people claiming to have experience. Because, like, I don't use comedians as a median of what society represents, but that's one of the reasons why I can't stand comedians, is they'll be like, here's something really stupid about relationships, and everybody will laugh and laugh and laugh, and I know why they're laughing, because the same thing happens to them. And then when you talk to people, you not included, you always hear about the same old relationship bullshit. And what is the same old relationship bullshit? Because you'll probably put it better than I will.
Shit, that's a good question. I haven't watched comedians in a while, so
No, it doesn't matter. When you think relationship, that doesn't mean you're going to do it. But what have you heard, and this is probably true of every country on the face of the planet mostly. What are 3 things you hear about relationships?
Okay. My girlfriend spends all of my money, my boyfriend keeps looking at other women, and my boyfriend/girlfriend is stupid.
That's kind of, and you hear that all the time. Or you hear that marriage is the old ball and chain. It's like, am I the only one with a brain sometimes? It's like,
quite possibly so.
It's like when people hear that stuff, do you not hear how horrible it is? I hate bringing up Opal, but to be perfectly honest, if ever you guys read Superman Earth 1, you'll understand when I bring up that Opal was my female Luthor to my male Luthor, okay?
Wait, aren't the 2 Luthors in Superman Earth 1 brother and sister?
No! They're husband and wife.
Oh, okay.
I know it's Texas, but we're not really into that either.
No, wait, that's Jesse and Harvey Dent from Batman Earth 1 Volume 2 that I was thinking of. They're brother and sister.
God, I want to read Batman Earth 1. Anyway, comics aside, though. No, the reason why Opal was so great is because she, along with me, saw the typical relationship as something utterly horrible. Apparently, like in other relationships, the female is not supposed to talk to other males. Ever. Apparently. Yeah, and apparently they're not supposed to watch the same movies and just all kinds of stuff. It all
depends on who's the dominant one in the relationship and whether or not they have a brain.
And that's even horrible. Horrible. It's even worse. There we are. It's like when it came to Opal and I, there was no dominant party. It was just her and I. It was a team sort of thing.
Well, to be fair, there are some relationships that are generally, genuinely submissive and dominant. This isn't anything bad so long as both parties agree to it. The same goes in pretty much any fucking sort of relationship, whether it be romantic or otherwise. Case in point, I have a friend with whom I constantly hang out with, and most of the time I'm the one who says, let's go there, let's go there, let's go there. And most of the time, he just agrees with it. Sometimes he takes charge too, and then I listen, but that's only because I don't want to be the guy who constantly leads people around and is a dick.
Yes, they Kyle, but whatever.
What?
It's a joke.
Yeah.
Our glorious leader, M-Man, has decided that we shall,
You and your fucking Nazi fetish.
Anyway. What? Just because I have a picture of Hilt hair on the wall? I don't really, because see, the thing is they might actually think I'm being serious.
Knowing the general American IQ and the very fact that TLC is an actual channel and the people there are real people and not actors, yeah, I think you really need to put up those disclaimers, actually.
It is joke. Please laugh. But anyway, no, it's just, that's something that just kind of, you know what grinds my gears? The fact that people look upon relationships in a negative light, and yet they do nothing to change it.
The reason, oh Jesus Christ, I don't feel like going into the reasons why nobody tries to change it. It's too politically charged, and I don't have either the time, inclination, or the pre-prepared script for this shit.
And now everybody's like, but what is it? What is it? I don't want to live this horrible life anymore. Explain to me, oh glorious one.
Oh, hell no.
But yeah, it's like nobody wants to change it, and it's just typical life just seems so soulless. I know not everybody lives the typical life, but at the same time, I think people would be much happier if they didn't. I'm not getting all Tyler Durden on everybody. That's more your thing than mine. But it just seems like contemporary society is just so bland. Like you go... I think, you know what, you may not like Lego Movie, mainly because you didn't see it. But I think Lego Movie actually had a pretty good message about contemporary society in it, with the character of Emmett, who was just your typical bro-man dude. And over time, he became a human being. And it just showed how shallow existence was. You follow pre-created instructions. Now, to be certain, the movie deconstructed contemporary society and then reconstructed it in some way. That just because everybody kind of acts the same doesn't mean they all are all the same. And
look, you and I sometimes act the same.
But we're still different people. I think that's an interesting thing. We could all be sand in a desert, but each grain of sand is unique in and of itself.
I think a better comparison would be a field covered in snow.
What's the difference? One's cold, one isn't.
Well, I don't know the crystalline shape of sand grains. I just know that every snowflake is unique.
Yeah, but then that's Tumblr stuff.
God. Special motherfucking snowflakes, all of us. Well, we actually do try to be special fucking snowflakes.
Well, yeah, why would you not want to be? I am so generic. I like Avengers 2, I play Call of Duty, and I drink gallons of Coca-Cola and eat only Big Macs a day.
No, I mean by the fact that you and I, flaunt the fact that we like true art as opposed to Avengers and Call of Duty, and then I try to be an even more special snowflake by saying Star Wars sucks, but I really like B movies like Hobo with a Shotgun and Clash of Nukem High. But then again, I really like Cormac McCarthy too, and Fyodor Dostoevsky. He's awesome as well.
But there you go. We're all... I think though, that consumerism has definitely affected some parts of society. Not all of it, though. Not everybody wants to go out and get the latest phone. Although I do know of some people that basically the phone is God every year. Gotta have a new phone. Gotta have a new phone.
It's like that is so monstrously retarded. I don't even know where to begin.
And you know what's sad about it, though? Now,
what?
Now, if you're a techie, which I am in a way, then, yes, a new phone is cool. Because it has a faster processor, more RAM, better screen resolution. But unless you're a really hardcore gamer on your phone, you don't need it. I remember I had somebody talk to me about their new phone. It's got 1080p resolution, and I asked the main question of, how many movies do you watch on your phone? Because I don't care how big that resolution is, that is still a small ass screen. How about I watch a movie on my big ass TV instead of my fucking phone? Or or it's like, oh yeah, it's got all this faster RAM, blah blah blah. Then why are you playing Angry Birds? Fucking Angry Birds. You don't need a fast processor for that. My old iPhone 3 could run that.
It's so that those people can wave their money having dicks around.
I guess, because like to me, you know, the phone I have is a very simple phone. I spent $50 on it, and I can play Final Fantasy 1, no slowdown, no nothing, and it looks good. I can watch movies on it. That's good. I'm not really sure what $1,000 phone would do that one doesn't do. Would it play Final Fantasy faster? Or with a better screen resolution? And if it can, why do I fucking care? Because at the end of the day, it's fucking Final Fantasy 1. Can I play COD on my phone? No. You can play a shitty version of it.
Why would you? Actually, you know what? There's a way to make COD a good game on the phone. Make it an RTS.
Nobody play it, it'd be shit. You know it would be filled with microtransactions. Hey, you want that Rifleman unit? We got to pay $20 real for it.
Oh god.
Oh, it died. Better spend 20 more. Because remember what happened in that Dungeon Keeper game? Holy shit, they got people pissed off.
See, I was imagining a world wherein those kinds of people are drawn and quartered, and having the Call of Duty RTS be closer to whatchamacallit, to the game mechanics used in Shadowrun, which were basically taken from the one with the aliens that Spoonie screamed betrayal over. XCOM? Yeah, the latest XCOM, not the first person one, but the tactical one.
XCOM, Enemy Unknown, I think.
Yeah, those kinds of tactical gameplay, where you have action points. I fucking love that.
I never played it up past the first mission, unfortunately. Although talking about Call of Duty on a handheld, believe it or not, the Nintendo DS, I actually played that one on occasion. It was pretty good. Basic first-person shooter, controlled well. Didn't have pay-per-bullet microtransactions. If they go to that, nobody's going to buy that, because nobody can buy it. Although you want to know something kind of interesting.
They'd have it, and I use this term only because I know they would probably make the mistake, pay-per-clip.
Oh, wow, pay-per-clip.
Yeah.
But if they did that, that just wouldn't work at all, because nobody would stand for it. Everybody'd torrent it if they could. And to be certain, games used to cost a lot more back in the day, but you got the game. You had it. It was yours.
And you got everything out of the game that you wanted if the game was good. Okay. Yeah.
No, go on.
Because when I imagine a good game from like the 90s, because that's the fucking era in which I was born. I don't know the 80s. It's like when I think good 90s games, I think things like Doom or Claw, the one where you're an anthropomorphic cat jumping on platforms, killing other anthropomorphic creatures, and it's all pirate themed.
And now you just got a billion more fans because nobody ever talks about that game.
My God, you know what? You should totally fucking review it. It's fucking awesome and fun, and it's got these awesome cinematics where everything is fucking hand animated. God, it kicks ass.
See, the thing is though, okay. All fans watching, make the M-Man make reviews, because you can do it.
Fuck no, dude.
And besides, there's different things you can touch on in reviews that other people might not. Since you're an actual artist, you could be like, oh yeah, the art style is like blah 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 blah, or this looks like that, or blah 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 blah. Whereas, me or the AVGN are like, the story's like this, oh yeah, the art style looks good, when in fact, To an artist, the art style looks bland or something. I don't know. I don't know fucking art. I know if the pictures are pretty, and that's it.
Ugh, I don't feel like making a fucking review. God damn.
All fans, let's have Occupy the M-Man. Wait, no, that sounds bad.
You know what? The only fucking way I'll be doing a review is if I like record my fucking audio, send it to you, and you splice it with the proper clips of gameplay, and that's it. Because otherwise, I'm not putting that shit up on my channel. All right? I don't care enough to put it up on my fucking channel. If you want it that fucking badly, fine, I'll do it for a price. But otherwise, fucking no. Anyways, where the hell was I? Yes, games like Claw and like Abe's Odyssey and shit. You know, the ever classic Doom and whatnot. Those were games where you got your money's worth because they challenged you and they were fun as hell, and you always got some sort of reward in game. With Doom, it was the pleasure of finishing a level and killing all those demons. With Claw, it was the cinematics, you know, seeing these bright, colorful new areas with new enemies all the time and the cool bosses. With Abe's Odyssey, it was the pleasure of being able to solve you know, all the puzzles of how to get all of the prisoners, you know, freed, and you know, seeing all the new cinematics, getting the new piece of the story and whatnot. Today you really have to work to make your game worthwhile, you know, to have some sort of reward for the player, you know, and not just, hey asshole, you beat the fucking game, because today that's not much of a thing because they're so fucking casualized and easy. You need to have something that'll keep the player going. For instance, in in games like Condemned Criminal Origins, it's the it's the pleasure of the thwack of the leaden pipe on jawbone. It's like the absolute splintering of wood on cartilage of the nose. And basically just, you know, finding the next piece of the story in the crazy, spooky atmosphere. With South Park's The Stick of Truth, it's all the in-jokes, all the references to old South Park episode, interacting with all the characters, limited though it is, and hearing the new jokes and the new lore, quote-unquote, being created in the game as you play it. What other example I have? Oh, the Walking Dead game by Telltale Games. My God, that was a good one. Where basically it's the, you know, choose your own adventure type of game. You know, not advanced like Dragon Age Origins or anything, but you know, you choose your dialogue and choose how your character, you know, talks. He can be nice, he can be a dick, but otherwise he still gets the job done. It's how you get there, you know, not the end of the journey.
Sadly, though, these are all indie games. Whereas all the AAA games are literally just rehashes of everything over and over again. And
actually, Condemned Criminal Origins was AAA. South Park, The Stick of Truth was AAA.
But at the same time, we're not talking like things from Ubisoft or EA or any companies like that.
Actually, The Stick of Truth was first developed by an internal South Park studio and Obsidian. And they were first going to be published by THQ, but then got taken over by Obsidian because THQ got bankrupt.
Well, yeah, but still, I wouldn't say that Obsidian is really AAA more than anything else. They're a lot smaller, you know.
I would say that they're an A-.
Which is generally the best, because in Stick of Truth, you didn't have to pay $1 for every single character.
No, you still had DLC, but the DLC was really just clothes you didn't even need. It just made the game more easier than it already was, honest. But then again, I already played through it, so I knew what to do.
My problem, though, is even with DLC, you know, clothes and costumes you have to buy. I still think that's stupid, because, you know, in a lot of games, that was just a nice little extra that you'd get. Because, like, Predator Concrete Jungle, if you collected enough, you know, gubbins, you would unlock, like, the costume from Predator 2. That was a challenge, not something you just paid out money for. And I think that's really overall cheapened the experience of a game. Because essentially, if you want to... What were you going to say?
Nothing. I'm just agreeing.
Because, like, Dead Space is a good example. You can purchase a lot of rigs, but you can buy other rigs as DLC. But what they could have done to make the game even better is had those rigs be unlocked via challenges. That's how a game is supposed to be. But now games... Let me tell you this. Houston had a mayor who wanted to run Houston like a business. Everybody hated him. And games are run like a business. And games aren't nearly as good as they were now, are they? I think an interesting concept is this. Phantasy Star 1 was released in 1986, I think. And in
1987? I don't know, but around that time.
And when it was released, it was $100. 100 gold pieces. You know why it was $100?
Because it cost to develop?
It was expensive to develop because it was a very, very huge game for the time. When games back in the day would maybe be like 40 minutes long, this was a multi-hour long RPG. And it had the added benefit of the fact that you could save anywhere you wanted. In fact, you had to, otherwise you could lose everything. Whereas not even Dragon Warrior let you do that. Dragon Warrior, you had to go back to the king to save, and you had to hold the reset button, all kinds of stuff like that. Whereas this is just save, done. It was a game that was worth that $100. In 1994, when Donkey Kong was released, it was about $100 in $1994. But when you pop that game into the Super Nintendo and you had pseudo 3D graphics in 1994, they earned that money. Nowadays, do they really earn the money that they request? Not really. And what they're going to find, I think, is I have a lot of modern games. I bought them years after they came out, when they were like $5. Case in point, Lara Croft. If you wanted to play Lara Croft when it came out, you had to buy all the DLC to have the complete experience. There were tombs one could raid, but you had to pay for those. They just weren't in the game. Well, year later in 2014, the game was on sale, $15. The Ultimate Edition, I had all the tombs, all everything. And I think what these AAA developers are going to find is people are not going to pay $60 for just the shell of a game that they didn't have to pay even more money for.
No, see, that's the sad part. People will pay because with today's society, it's more like, give me now, give me quick, give me quick, give me quick. Everything has to be instant, everything has to be now, especially with the advent of the internet where knowledge is like one click away. So, and with the hype machine of the marketing, and marketing really eats up most of the fucking budget, people will want to buy it now, even if they have to buy additional DLC later. They're just too fucking lazy and stupid to actually, be patient, or too rich. Because if you're rich, $90, like, oh, you peasantry who need to penny pinch. Oh, here, give me 2 copies. In fact, I shall burn one just because I can.
But that's the stupid rich. The real rich actually realize, hey, I'm not gonna be rich for long if I'm wasting my money on bullshit.
Unless you're fucking Bill Gates or one of the Rothschilds, or God knows who, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, who can spend like $50 million a year and still have $100 million left.
Well, there's the concept of being rich, and there's the concept of being rich and doing copious consumption. There's that. Where like you have like crepes flown in from France for breakfast. Yeah, that's kind of stupid, but it's their money, and if they earned it, whatever. But yeah, it's like although I do know somebody who will buy games and get all the DLC and all that, not wait. And when it comes to a game that I really like Dark Souls 2, I was willing to buy the Xbox 360 version just to play it earlier than the PC version, even though I was going to buy the PC version anyway, because I wanted to play it right then. But yeah, I wouldn't do that for every game. I'd do that for very few games, to be perfectly honest. But I think that's just the problem with society in general these days, is that we're willing to waste money on complete crap more than in the past. Because at least back in the day, if you wasted money on crap, it was good crap. As it'll be a cold day in hell before I'll ever waste $5 on costume DLC, or go out and buy a new phone just because it's slightly faster.
I'll never understand that. My old smartphone is from 2012, and it's still running properly.
Because it's just, I don't know. Wow, we are sounding so hipster today, aren't we? We got our hipster hats on, don't we?
The beanie has broken through the skull tissue and is now in our brain.
But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people could actually agree with that, though. just the concepts of. I think we could also go on to the concept of nonconformity. Because you know what's funny about conformity? Well, I don't care. Fuck it. I'm going to talk about it anyway. I'm not going to conform by talking about nonconformity. Conformity is an interesting concept. I think there's a lot of people who do a lot of things these days because they want to conform to society. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah. There's people who take up specific fads just because they're fads. Case in point, gamer culture. Some people, I shall not name names and I shall not point fingers because God knows living as those people is punishment enough. Some people, to them, games and being a gamer, it's like being able to name every single Primarch in Warhammer 40k, being a nerd in general. It's like, or knowing the history of Obsidian, knowing the name of the main antagonist of Fallout, or being able to say which one was your favorite companion in Fallout New Vegas, or like talking endlessly for hours on the morality in Alpha Protocol. God, I'm really sucking Obsidian's dick right now. That is the kind of shit that to you and me comes naturally because that's part of our life. But to those assholes, games and nerddom is just a fad, an accessory to wear, like one of those faggy-ass fucking shawls.
Yeah, you can't say that.
Oh, shut up. Nobody cares. One of those asshole shawls which they wrap around their necks as if they got exotic culture from the East or some shit.
The mysterious East.
God,
I'm reminded. There used to be a show called Drew Carey on TV, and there was a sketch where it's like he's back. Drew Carey's back from the mysterious East with spices and silk.
But anyways, my point being, to those assholes, nerddom and being gamerdom is all just an accessory. To them, it's a fad because. Oh my god, did you watch the last episode of The Big Bang Theory? Oh yeah, I totally did. Bazinga! God. And
I'm
it
actually
really all
reminded
started
of a show of the Cinema Snob, who apparently doesn't like The Big Bang Theory, but apparently he was on a plane once, and a stewardess or a flight attendant, I think it was male actually, who was like, "Oh, you could have missed the episode of The Bang."
But anyways, my point is, this shit all really started in 2007. That's when being a nerd became popular and cool. And I think it all really started with the Big Bang Theory, because to these assholes, being a nerd is just Marvel and DC. It's like The Flash and Superman and Spider-Man and the Avengers with Thor and his rippling pecs. Fuck me.
I'm sorry. If only we had animation skills, this would be hilarious.
Point being, is like, those assholes are nerds. Those assholes cannot name more than 2 comic publishers. I can name at least 5, including the big 2. Okay, Marvel, DC, Charlton Comics, now defunct. Malibu Comics, now defunct. Image Comics, Dark Horse Comics, Boom Studios, Dynamite Comics, and IDW. That's 9. Fucking 9. Okay? And just for number fucking 10, if I want to be really fucking knowledgeable, fucking Luddens. Or no, not Luddens, Bonelli Comics from Italy, okay? And then of course there's, what's the name of the guys who published 2000 AD?
2000 AD.
Seriously? Yeah, shit, I never read an issue, I just know they exist. But my point is,
he's not a nerd. Cast him out! Cast him out before he brings his normalcy to us.
Case in point.
And you didn't mention Avatar Press. What about them?
God.
Are they not good enough for you?
They're essentially the trauma of the comic world. Not a bad thing.
What about Uber?
Even a studio that does weird shit can sometimes put real effort into it. But anyways, my point being, these assholes would just stare blankly like a lamb at an oncoming car if you mention Dark Horse or Avatar Press. or even Image Comics.
Yeah, and you know what I think, honestly, though, is really the biggest problem with society? Is I think it actually makes people be afraid to be themselves. Case in point, people don't want to be considered a nerd because they'll be cast out. But where are they being cast out from? A bunch of dumbasses who sit around drinking coffee talking about how capitalism is bad when they actually are actively supporting it with everything they do? Honestly, I think there's a lot of people who don't try new things simply because they're afraid that they'll be considered weird. I'm not talking like anything really weird, but I'm talking like Magic the Gathering. Oh, that's too nerdy for me. Or Warhammer 40k, also far too nerdy, because people might think I'm not good. What people? What journey? What journey? But anyway, what people, And let's think, what is society? What is society is my question.
A society is a collection of individuals who have agreed, whether consciously or unconsciously, to live under a certain arrangement of rules.
And you know what? The arrangement of rules of you don't steal my shit, and you don't kill me, and I don't kill you, that should be the extent of society. We should be able to do or say what we want to do and say within reason. But yet we try to... I don't do it, but I think more people than they'd like to admit don't expand their horizons because they're afraid that they'll be ostracized.
No, I think some, yes. With some, it's that. I imagine a certain person I know of and is like that. But with most people, it's really just the fact that their minds are closed off, rather, in that to them, life just goes one way, and that's the correct way, the end. And they're right because they know they're right, and they know they're right because, of course, they're right. Otherwise, they wouldn't be right, right?
Exactly.
It's like, and those people are even worse because they're not even aware of their limitations. They think that they essentially, okay, let's say we're all climbing a mountain. You and I are somewhere halfway up to the top of Mount Everest. These assholes decided to lay on a plateau that's like 5 feet off the ground and declared that this is the top of Everest.
You wouldn't be able to convince them otherwise, that's for sure.
Oh, to be fucking sure.
But you know what's the weirdest thing, though? Talking about stuff that people don't do? Whatever happened to reading books? I seem to be in the minority when it comes to people that I talk to who actually read. That was another reason why I was so in love with Opal. She actually could read these book things. It's like, being a reader is something that people say. Like, really? Is that a thing? I thought just reading books was like... that's like being a TV watcher. That's why I think the concept of gamer is kind of stupid. I'm a TV watcher. I'm a movie goer. I'm an air breather. I'm a water drinker. Well, that might be a thing, because everybody likes that fucking soda these days.
It's like, okay, for moviegoers, it's more like cinephile or chinophile, depending on how you pronounce it. And I think it only works if you're very knowledgeable in a certain area and can list off, arbitrary and pointless trivia that nobody but another cinephile or a gamer cares about. For instance, Shigeru Miyamoto. It's like, do you know who he is? Of course you do. You played his fucking video games. Do you know who Akira Yamaoka is? Probably not, because you don't care about the music in video games. I do. Akira Yamaoka is one of the best fucking horror composers out there, especially if we're talking about Devil's Laughter for what's it called? Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which I think is one of the best fucking tracks I've ever heard for a horror game.
Or, of course, that Nubo guy.
What?
Or, of course, the Nubo guy.
I will destroy you. But yeah, that's the point. Okay, and everybody knows about Stanley Kubrick and David. Okay, everybody, maybe not everybody. But most people know about, Stanley Kubrick, David Lynch, and all that.
They're not going to know who David Lynch is. They're not. Stanley Kubrick, maybe. You have to remember, there are people out there who don't even know that Europe's a country. Remember that time they said, where's Iraq?
Europe is not a country.
Sure it isn't. Sure it isn't.
But yes, what the general is referring to, there are some people out there who generally believe, was it Iraq or Iran?
I think it was Iraq.
Yeah, there's some people out there who, one person who genuinely believed that Iraq was in southern Europe. I think I would be aware if I lived that fucking close to fucking Iraq.
I don't know. That EU is looking kind of like a country these days. I don't know.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
That's what I'm doing, because I'm being an asshole. Sure, it isn't a country. Just, common currency and laws, but that clearly not a country.
Wanker.
But anyway, well, I just incurred the wrath of the entire European Union. I mean, the entire country and contiguous countries of Europe. But anyway, Euros aside, I think that's really just a problem. I don't know if there's really a problem with society or not. I just wanted to complain about it and complain about people not fucking reading books. Thanks to you people who don't fucking read that the EU was destroyed. Star Wars EU, that is.
Is it which is better or worse in this case? Which is worse, that people don't read books or that they read shitty books like teenage romance fan fiction with zombies or angels and demons or whatnot bullshit? Whatever those young kids are in today.
Which is that's the thing though. I think it is the fact that they read shitty books versus not reading good books. Although, can you believe there was a time when I thought Harry Potter was like Twilight in quality? How wrong I was.
I think the problem. Okay, it's not bad if you read shitty books. It's bad if you just keep on reading shitty books. Because
the problem is though, if you're part of the culture that likes the shitty books, you're not going to be convinced otherwise because it's just, these books speak to me. And that's the problem. You're not going to be like, if you read TMI, that's an example of a really shitty book that, see, Opal and I used to read books to each other that were shitty, mainly trashy teen books, because what we used to do is we'd go to Barnes & Noble, and the trashy teen section was literally on the other side of the sci-fi books, which we'd always go pick up a few. And we would make fun of them. And they're so bad, but I know that these days it speaks to the youth, man. And it's like, oh my good God. You have not read terrible books until you... You know what? Even though there's unpleasantness between Opal and I, she actually did a teen book vlog once. Listen to some of the stuff that she is reading, and you'll get the idea of the state of teen literature.
I don't need to, because every time I go to a bookstore or to Amazon.com and read the blurbs, I want to vomit.
In fact, trust me, do that right now. Just go pick one from Amazon. Just go.
Shit, I'm not even on Amazon, and I have nothing in my history. Because I always clear my history before I go to sleep. But yeah.
TMI then. Type in TMI and we can and just read the blurb.
Clear history is a dirty history. TMI by Patty Blount, or Blount, whatever the hell her name is pronounced like. Okay, let's see. Best friends don't lie. Best friends don't teach you for a guy. Best friends don't post your deepest, darkest secrets online. Bailey's falling head over heels for Ryder West, a mysterious gamer she met online.
I'm sorry. Every one of those teen books, the guy's always mysterious.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. The teenage girls really want that, mysterious guy. It's like, it's unknown, therefore it's kind of scary but cool because scary guys are so super hot. But anyways, a guy she's never met in person. Her best friend Meg doesn't trust smooth-talking Ryder. He's just a picture in his profile. When Bailey starts blowing Meg off to spend more virtual quality time with her new crush, Meg decides time to prove Ryder's a phony. But one stupid little secret posted online turns into a friendship-destroying feud to answer the question, who is Ryder West? Who is John Galt?
I just find that so funny because, a pictureless profile usually means one of two things. A bot or a 50-year-old pedophile.
So you're saying that your fan, Armageddon 3035, is a pedophile. Your fan, Tyler Reck, is a pedophile. Your fan, Colin McClure, is a pedophile.
Well, yes. I'm sticking by that. So you guys better beware. I'm watching you. Or they could be bots.
I don't know.
Well, you know what I mean, though. Okay. Let me do a 180. I don't actually mean that, by the way, but you get the idea, though.
I do, but still.
In fact, the thing is, though, okay, hold on. If they got no picture, they could easily just look like me. Or you. I'm blind. But anyway.
Hey, let's listen to this one. It's like Some Boys, also by Patty Blunt. Some girls say no. Some boys don't listen. Oh dear fucking lord.
Wait. Are they saying that like date rape is good now?
I think they're trying to. I think she's gonna try and tackle rape in a fucking young adult romance novel. Good fucking lord. That's like a fifth grade play trying to tackle on the Holocaust.
And bad old Mr. Hitler decided to make all the good people go to the cat. No, it's just terrible.
Anyways, when Grace meets Ian, she's afraid he'll reject her like the rest of the school, like her own family. After she accuses Zach, the town golden boy, of rape, everyone turns against her. Ian wouldn't be the first to call her a slut and liar. Except Ian doesn't reject her. He's the one person who looks past the taunts and the names and the tough girl act to see the real Grace. He's the one who gives her the courage to fight back. He is also Zach's best friend. A bold and necessary look at an important and very real topic. Everyone should read this book.
Jennifer Brown, author of 1,000 Words and Hate List.
A gun-wrenching, powerful love story told from alternating points of view by the acclaimed author of Send.
So I used to think that Harry Potter was shit. More people should read Harry Potter. And not this bullshit.
Yeah, okay, sure.
You even like Harry Potter. I remember you saying once that it was better than Lord of the Rings.
No.
Well, I could have been high at the time.
I say that?
Or drunk.
When the fuck did I say that? It's like Harry Potter is okay. It's just that I think if you read it when you're like 20 and act like this is the greatest novel ever, you need to get checked into a fucking clinic. But if you know it's like if you know it's a kid's novel and you also read more advanced shit just to stimulate your brain, then it's fucking alright. Shit. Sometimes I read B-grade novels for the shits and giggles, like Lights Out from Dead-Eye Press, for fuck's sake.
I read those B-grade novels that you plebeians like the Star Wars, but I didn't enjoy it. Oh no, I did not.
Actually, I far more enjoyed the opening pages of Heir to the Empire than I did the entirety of Darth Bane, Path of Destruction.
Because Darth Bane is far too lowbrow for my taste. I prefer the Fountainhead and
Actually, you know what? I would sooner read Path of Destruction than I would the Fountainhead over again, because the problem with Ayn Rand is that her character, despite being a romanticist, her style is very dead and dry. Like, there's no real life to it. Like, everybody's, going around because she wants them to. Now, I know it's like romanticism and everybody represents something, but it still feels stilted. Like, something is missing. There's like, I don't know. I can't really explain without rereading it several times, and quite honestly, right now, I don't feel like rereading the Fountainhead because it's 700 fucking pages on 10 by 7 inches? I don't know. I can't even remember.
But yeah, I get what you're saying, and ultimately, I don't know, when it comes to society, we really need to try to wake up and get some stuff done. And we were going to bring up some more political crap, but I think it's a good stopping point, don't you?
Well, a good stopping point for political crap, but what do you say we continue on doing with the crazy-ass book shit?
Books. You know, it's funny. You know what the first Star Wars book I ever read was? Not Heir to the Empire.
Let me guess. A novelization of one of the movies?
Yes, actually. I got the omnibus. It's the only Star Wars omnibus out there, actually. Of episode 1, 2, and 3. I liked them so much, I went and got the novelization to Shadows of the Empire. because I love the game. I thought the book would be even better, and it was.
I think you mean novelizations of episodes 4, 5, and 6, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then only later would I get the novelizations for episode 1, 2, and 3. And let me tell you this. Those movies are complete shit, but the books are awesome. Episode 3, this novelization, was written by Matthew Stover. All Star Wars fans will immediately rush out to go buy the book because Matthew Stover is the most awesome Star Wars writer. And it actually made Anakin Skywalker's evilness make more sense. Because you could use the Chewbacca defense on that guy. Because he did not make sense. But in the book, it made it to where he became drunk on his own power. To the point where, you know that really shitty scene where he, like, kills Padme? Okay, spoiler alert, oh no, did you know that Luke was Darth Vader's son? Oh, I bet nobody knew that one. And do you know what else? Here's a bigger spoiler. The Earth revolves around the sun, just so you know. But anyway.
Heretic.
But where was I? Oh yeah, it's basically in the book. It's a lot scarier. Basically, he turns into a complete psychopath, to where he doesn't even really see Padme as his wife anymore. He basically turns into, you know, a domestic abuse kind of guy, except a real one. To where like he only wants her because he wants her, you know. And like when he starts choking her with the Force choke, he's enjoying it. He likes it because it makes him feel powerful. And that really shows the character disconnect between little Annie and Darth Vader. Because you don't see that in the movie. You see a whiny little bitch going, I want power! When you read that, it's like, holy shit, that is Darth Vader. That is this evil guy.
I would say it creates a better connect between little Annie, bitch Anakin, and Darth Vader. Because Anakin, when he was a kid, he was a slave. He had no power, no control. So, of course, having power and control would be pleasant to him, at least on a psychological level, when he was older, because it meant that he could no longer be bossed around or be someone's bitch. It meant he could control things, and you know, having control means you have options. Having options means you have more safety. And a slave only has safety so long as his master allows him to. And everybody wants to be the master of their own destiny.
And you know what's funny? That's an interesting thing I never thought of before. At no time in Anakin's life was he ever truly free. Think about that a minute. Was he ever free? He was a slave to Watto, he was a slave to the Jedi, and he was a slave to Palpatine. Only once he killed Palpatine and died was he ever actually free.
Wow.
Dude! That's deep, man! Can't do that voice.
It's such a shame that the prequels suck then, because shit, if Lucas just hired you and me, and if we time traveled and like bitch slapped Lucas to hell and back and forced him to make us the writers, we could have made something great.
Well, it is great. You just got to read the books, because the books do delve into that. But that's always the old adage of the book is always going to be better than the movie, because the movie has to basically be visual, and there's something that's lost in the visual medium, I think, at times. And it basically depends. If you got a shit actor, you can have this great character, but if that actor acts like shit or the director can't direct, you lose it. And I think that's what ended up happening to the prequel trilogy, because there's apparently supposed to be takes where Hayden Christensen actually gave a great performance, and Lucas was all like, okay, but we need it to be more stylized. We needed to be more like the old serials from when I was a kid when nobody could act. So for all we know, Jake Lloyd and Hayden Christensen were good actors, but Lucas was like, that's too good. God.
Oh, what could have been. Well, let's hope that at least episode 7 will be a decent action flick, if nothing
Fuck
else.
episode 7.
But
And
anyway,
fuck the new canon for Star Wars. Fuck it to hell and back.
Oh dear, you're so butthurt. But let's take your mind off it with another round of weird books. This one called Bigfoot Crank Stomp.
Really?
Yes.
This book gives new meaning to the word outrageous. It's so totally off the wall, while at the same time so unputdownable that it blew my creative doors off. The whole time I was reading it, I was pissed that I hadn't thought of it. Edward Lee, author of Haunter of the Threshold and Header. Bigfoot is real, and he's addicted to men. It should have been so easy. Get in, kill everyone, and take all the money and drugs. That was Russell and Mickey's plan. But the drug den they were raiding in the middle of the woods holds a dark secret chained up in the basement. A beast filled with rage and methamphetamine, and suddenly I turned into a redneck. And tonight it will break loose. Nothing can stop a Sasquatch on a drug-fueled rampage. And before the sun rises, there's going to be a lot of dead cops and junkies.
Well, that's terrible.
Well, it sounds pleasantly pleasantly retarded, if nothing else.
No, you can't say that. That's shaming somebody.
Look, at least it knows it's not. At least it's not trying to be highbrow art.
No, it's not.
It knows it's fucking stupid, but it revels in it. It's trying to emulate, Evil Dead, the trauma flicks, and so on and so forth. Really.
Incidentally, this reminds me of a movie that I loved back in the day that I only rediscovered a while. It's about a year and a half ago, called Project Metal Beast. You might try to find it. It's on YouTube. It's about a cyborg werewolf.
What?
Well, okay. The government sends 2 secret agents to, Carpathia or something, assuming that's a country anymore. It sends it to the EU to find a werewolf. And they do. But one of them gets bit, and then the werewolf is then used to grow magic skin, which then hardens to the consistency of steel. So now it's a cyborg wolf! Ah! It was good. I liked it.
Gonna have to take your word for it, because I never watched it myself.
Talking about obscure movies, SS Doom Trooper. I wanted to review that for you guys. Never could find it. Ever. There's only one DVD of it. You know where that DVD is from?
Australia? Germany?
There's 2. One in complete German and one in Serbian, of all things.
Well, at least I could understand it and give you a blow by blow. What'd you call it? SS Wolf Trooper?
Doom Trooper. It's an American film or Canadian or something. It was shown on the Sci-Fi Channel. It is basically the film version of Return to Castle Wolfenstein, with the guy who played Jonas Quinn in Stargate SG-1 as BJ. And they got what were you gonna say?
Nothing. Just continue.
There's no torrents for it. There's nothing for it whatsoever. It's gone, and it's really good. It's like Hobo with a Shotgun. It's cheesy, but it's supposed to be. And BJ Blazkowicz fights the Doom Trooper, who's like this 8-foot tall, super soldier guy. Well, he looks somewhat like the Commandos from Doom 3. And eventually, BJ uses his mighty knife to cut his arm off, which you wouldn't think he'd be able to do. But hey, it's BJ, man. He had a berserk pack. It's great. It's a better movie than the Doom movie was. That's for damn sure.
That's not difficult to pull off, really.
It's probably one of the best gaming films since, well, until Doom Arenas was created. It's probably the best gaming film ever. Yeah, I don't get why game movies can't be any better, How hard is it?
It's hard because they don't care, so they get whatever writer out there has a script and just adapt the script, because they're lazy.
They literally find the douchiest writer of all time. I don't play those video games. I only like going to get drunk every night. Oh, here's something I wrote in a drunken stupor. Genius! Let's have the Doom enemies instead be virus victims. Because that's totally what Doom is. Doom's that Japanese game, right? It was composed by that Nobuo Uematsu guy, right? And it came out on the Super Nintendo.
You are such a plebeian.
No, wait, no. It was that game by the guy who made Supersonic. That Supersonic game. I think the guy's name was like Hideo. What was his last name? It was some Japanese thing. Hideo Kojima. Shit, I was gonna make a joke. I can't. Miyamoto, that's it. Hideo Miyamoto. There we go.
God.
No, wait, no. I got a better idea. Hideo Muramasa. What, that sword guy? Yeah, that sword guy, man. Like, he also makes, like, katanas in his spare time out of, like, game controllers. I've just completely lost my mind now, and I'm basically in the mindset of an idiot. Please rescue me.
Okay, considering you're in the mindset of an idiot, let's see what other weirdo shit I can find on Amazon and comment on that. Here we have a novel that looks deeply into the human soul, which asks us the very important questions of how in the flying fuck can somebody publish something with a title like this and try to be taken seriously as a writer, no matter what kind of movement you're a part of. It is written by Carlton Mellick III.
Oh, that guy. Oh, God.
Yeah, that guy. And his novel is called Ape Shit. And trust me,
you're talking about zombies and shit.
Oh, he also has a novel called Zombies and Shit, and something far worse, which I will not fucking mention on this podcast. You can look him up yourself. Carlton Mellick III, Mellick. Anyways, Ape Shit. Friday the 13th meets Visitor Q. It's like Ape Shit is Mellick's love letter to the great and terrible B-movie horror genre. B-horror movie genre. 6 trendy teenagers, 3 cheerleaders, and 3 football players go to an isolated cabin in the mountains for a weekend of drinking, partying, and crazy sex, only to find themselves in the middle of a life and death struggle against a horribly mutated psychotic freak that just don't stay dead. Mellick parodies this horror cliche and twists it into something deeper and stranger. It's the literary equivalent of grindhouse film. It is a splatterpunk's wet dream. It is perhaps one of the most fucked up books ever written. If you're a fan of Takashi Miike, Evil Dead, early Peter Jackson, or you're a trash horror, then you must read this book.
My God.
And that's not even half as bad as his fucking magnum opus, which again I will not fucking read. Okay, I'll give you an inkling. In fact, I will not give you an inkling. I will just give you the blurb, but redact the offensive part, because goddamn it, even I find this shit fucking offensive. It's like, fuck me. Okay.
And when you offend somebody such as the M-Man, you know you've gone too far.
It's like, holy shit, I'm all for, being shocking for the sake of shocking and being funny, but goddamn it, dude, there's a point at which you're just trying to be shocking for the sake of shocking to see if you can get it into print. Goddamn, dude. It's supposed to be a social commentary wrapped up in a completely twisted, bizarre story. Right. Because you're the guy we're gonna go to for social commentary.
Why not?
Anyways.
Because clearly, anyone who writes a story called Zombies and Shit, man, that needs to be in the Bible. Like, Religion and Shit by Carlton Mellick.
Don't give the guy any ideas, goddammit.
Oh God, he's gonna watch this podcast. Like, this General Lutz fellow has the right idea. I shall write a religious fiction book known as Religion and Shit. Godspeed, sir. Godspeed.
I wouldn't put it past him. He strikes me as the kind of guy who likes to watch crazy as fuck things on the internet, like these fucking podcasts where just 2 assholes ramble on endlessly. But anyways, to read the blurb of the book.
Step into a dark and absurd world where human beings are slaves to corporations. People are photocopied instead of born. And, redacted, is a very popular anal probe.
I think we've heard enough of that.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing the blurb says.
My God.
Oh, here's one called razor wire pubic hair, which actually sounds much more respectable than the previous one by a long shot.
A surreal sexual nightmare by cult bizarro author Carlton Millick III. In a dark future where males have become extinct, humans are forced to breed with factory-manufactured living fuck toys that possess an abundance of both male and female sex organs. One such creature is adopted by a warrior dominatrix named Celsia, who is trying to have a baby. But once she takes her new merchandise home, things don't quite go as planned. Wild tribes of rapists, women with multiple vaginas covering their bodies, sex tournaments, erotic mutilation, and a giant vagina possessing the secrets of the universe. This is one ugly, perverted hell of a world. Told in Millick's early schizophrenic prose style, razor wire pubic hair is like postmodern minimalistic art mixed with Japanese guru porn.
I think with that, we're gonna call it an episode.
You seriously want to end with that shit? Fucking serious. At the very least, let me plug an author from Dead Eye Press, which I have read that at the very least has some sort of fucking integrity. Nate Southard, Southard. The guy wrote Lights Off, and for all the spelling mistakes, there's like 10% of all pages have at least one spelling mistake. At the very least, it's competently written. It's slightly evocative of Stephen King's style, where you get to know the characters. It's just that most characters are complete bastards because it takes place in a prison. But the action is good, the horror is good, and it's very fast. It's only like 2,200 and so pages, and I recommend it if you're willing to check out Dead Eye Press, but don't want Carlton Millick III to be your first.
Yeah, because you don't want your first to be your worst. And with that, this is General Watts.
And the man.